But we have another photographer on the show, and that is Debra from Humans of Amsterdam. Hello, Debra.
Hello.
Welcome to So Damn Local. You are a photographer. You have a blog, can I call it a blog, called Humans of Amsterdam?
Yeah, Humans of Amsterdam, I would call it a photo blog.
A photo blog?
Yeah.
You've just watched the video with us?
Yeah, I did.
Does that somehow, I mean, how do you view this video?
From one street photographer to another.
I think it's interesting, yeah, for sure. I mean, it's interesting to see another photographer work on the street. I mean, I don't get to talk to a lot of other street photographers on a daily basis, so I think it was interesting for me.
Do you immediately have like criticism, like he holds his camera incorrectly, or?
No. I mean, like on a technical level, I'm more like because I photograph humans, so I'm interested more in the people that I photograph than in my manual program and my camera. I'm not such a good technical photographer, I will admit that. So no, I'm not criticizing him on his technique.
But what you guys do is very different, isn't it? So whereas Kevin is a fashion style photographer blogger, you have a blog called Humans of Amsterdam. Yeah. And do you want to tell us a little bit about what you do, what you're about?
I mean, I walk the streets on a daily basis, just like him. I photograph also people just like he does, but I think the difference is that he's a fashion photographer. Like he photographs, he has a fashion blog. For me, I mean, I photograph anyone that I find interesting or I want to know their story. So I also ask them for their story. So the outside, it's important because I photograph whoever I find interesting. But I don't think, I mean, he's really about fashion, and what I do, it's more about stories. So
Humans,
exactly.
Tell us about Humans of Amsterdam then, the blog.
Well, I started 2 years ago. Actually, I started because I discovered a Facebook page called Humans of Tel Aviv. I knew there was another Facebook page which was called Humans of New York, and I absolutely loved that. But when I saw Humans of Tel Aviv, I was actually at that moment studying and doing an internship in Tel Aviv. And for me, it was very interesting to see those photos on that blog because I was living in that city. So the photos that I saw were actually the people that I saw maybe at the market, you know, maybe at the big streets, or that one guy that was always sitting in that corner. And I always wondered, who is that? What's his story? And I saw those photos on Humans of Tel Aviv, and I was like, wow, this is such a cool project that you can, you know, because we live in a society, I feel that you won't just go up to people and ask for their story. We don't really do that. I mean, I never did that. So I felt that through that Facebook page, I actually started to get to know really the people that lived in that city. And I knew that I was going to go back to Amsterdam. And I really love Amsterdam. It's such a unique, beautiful city, beautiful people. And I've thought, you know, what better way to go back and actually get to know the people who live in my city.
And did you start immediately when you came back?
Yeah. Well, I opened the Facebook page actually when I was still in Tel Aviv. And then I started posting in November. So it took a few months. I got a camera, and I mean, I didn't know a lot about photography neither. Like, I just thought I'm going to do this. And I learned on the way. So
can you tell us the way you work? Are you also like instant in the moment, or do you really go out and prepare your shots? Or do you actually scout and watch people for a long time before you approach them?
Sometimes I do, and I think they think I'm a bit weird because I'm like staring at them, and I feel always I shouldn't be staring too long, because then they'll just be like, what's your problem? Like, why you...
Do people get suspicious?
A little bit sometimes, yeah. But I mean, it's not that difficult. A lot of people ask me the question, like, how do you find these people? And I'm like, you know, sometimes you walk the street or you're in the train and you see these people around you, and you're like, who, you know, they catch your eye. In Dutch, you can say that. And those are the people that I photograph. I'm not a genius or anything. I just, those people that you're curious about in your surroundings. I think we all have those people. So.
And I think most people are actually quite willing to connect.
They are, yeah, they are.
Which is interesting, isn't it?
It is interesting. It's very interesting.
Willing to open up.
Yeah, and it's not easy. a lot of people think it's easier than because I make it look easy on the blog, but it takes time before you understand how to approach someone and how to ask the right questions, and also how to be, not to make them feel uncomfortable, because a lot of the times I feel uncomfortable because every day I step out of my comfort zone. I go out on the street, I go to new places that I don't even know, talk to people that I don't know neither. But every time you do that and every time it works, the feeling is amazing, because you get a story from someone, and I can post that online, and people respond to that, which is great, because that's a big motivation to keep
Why are you
it.
out of your comfort zone when you do seemingly what you love doing? Right?
Because you're still every day talking to strangers.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
that can be uncomfortable. I mean, and then you have to find a way to work with that, and because I want a good shot, but I also want a good story. I if one photo is not enough, I actually need to know something about that person that's very unique to that person.
I watched the video on your blog that actually shows how you work, and you do seem to approach people first by asking if you can take their picture.
Exactly.
And when do you move to now? Tell me your story.
Well, that's funny that you say that. It's because the fact that I asked them for their photograph, it's my way in. So I tell them about the project, and can I take your photo? And most people are like, okay, you can. It's okay, you can take my photo. And then afterwards, we have like a subject to talk about, because they will ask me what I do, and then I will ask them what they do in their lives, and then very fastly I try to move to a question that they will give me a little bit more information about their life or their life experiences. And sometimes what I do after, a lot of the times, I take a photo after our conversation. And it's funny, because if you take those two photos, the one before that we actually connected and then the one after we connected, you see a difference in that photograph. You see that someone's more comfortable, someone's more relaxed, and you get these different facial expressions, and those are mostly the better photos, is the ones that I take after we got to talk. So
Do people sometimes don't want you to share their story?
of course that happens, yeah.
And then what do? You don't use their photo at all on your website?
If I don't have a story, I won't use the photo. I had a few times that I did post a photo with a story, and then afterwards they send me an email like, I didn't know you had like over 300,000 followers on Humans of Amsterdam, and now my story is out there.
That's the nature of the art, isn't it?
Exactly, and the bigger the blog gets, I have to be careful with that. And then I will take it off if they don't want their photo to be published. No, I won't keep it up.
I'm curious. Does it ever happen that you follow somebody around and that person looks really, really, really interesting and fascinating, and then you go and talk to the person, and he or she is terribly boring?
It happens. Yeah. I mean, I've noticed that there's a lot of people that they look incredible. They're very fascinating, and then then we get to talk, and it's so hard to connect with them. They will have
more
a lot
guarded.
Exactly, they will have almost like a wall around them, and I have 5 minutes to tear down
break
that wall,
down.
so it's impossible for me. If the photo is very good, I might post it. If it's not a good photo, I don't have a story, it won't be up on the blog. I will send them.
But you have got loads of really good stuff on that blog already. And I know you were saying before, you've dedicated 2 years of your life to this blog, right? And you sacrificed a lot for it.
I did. I really did, yeah.
So what's the future for Humans of Amsterdam? What's the plan?
Well, I have dreams, of course. Like, I would love to publish a book. But I think just to make it bigger, to photograph even more people. That's what I think. I think I photographed around 1,000 people now. Not all the photos have been up, but so I just really want to take more portraits, because it's a beautiful city, and there's so many faces I didn't photograph yet, and so many stories that I didn't tell yet. But the future, we will see. It can go it can go very different ways. I mean, like I said, I would love to publish a book. That's one thing.
Maybe one day you meet a publisher on the streets.
Maybe
hang around outside the offices. Exactly. Say, can I take your portrait?
And if the publisher wants to visit your website or your Facebook page, where does he or she go exactly?
He will go, well, I think it's Facebook/Humans of Amsterdam or humansofamsterdam.nl.
.nl.
Yeah, did I say that correctly?
You said that correctly. I'm just emphasizing it's .nl.
Okay.
And
Debra,
it's up on screen.
we have to say goodbye to you.
Thank you
so much for joining us here.
Thank you.
It's absolutely fantastic. Go check out humansofamsterdam.nl or the Facebook page, facebook.com/humansofamsterdam. And when you walk downtown, be sure to pay a little bit of attention. And when Debra approaches you, just be natural and smile.